Tonight I want to talk a little bit about social spiritual responsibility. You see, our world is running and nobody wants to take responsibility. The politicians get the money from the taxes, spend it in any way they want, and then they don't want to take responsibility. Just recently, they wanted to pass a law in Brazil that politicians cannot be held responsible for what they do in office. The Brazilian went crazy. They went in the streets and said, no way. No way, no way. So, social responsibility and social and spiritual responsibility. The spiritual responsibility is before ourselves and before the world. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The Vedic scriptures say that every human being has a responsibility to strive for self-realization, to try to realize his own soul and his prescribed duty and everything. So this is basic, because without understanding your spiritual responsibility, you don't really have a concept of social responsibility, because you don't have a concept of what is responsibility. Responsibility comes from responding, action and reaction. So if you have a certain attitude, a certain activity, a certain word, even a certain thought, that will produce a certain reaction. So you should accept, okay, I have my spiritual and social responsibility, and I should do everything possible so that I will behave in the appropriate way. Now this is really not taken up like the social, spiritual responsibility of a journalist. I'll give you an example. He must inform the people what's really going on in society. If a journalist is just a silly writer of lies to get a good pay for it, he's not a journalist to begin with. He should lose his license of writing, just like a doctor loses his license of doctorship if he harms the patients. So, it's not wrong to speak about social spiritual responsibilities. So there's the press, there's the social responsibility of the business community. They have responsibility. In the Vedic culture, they are Vaishyas, and they should obey the Kshatriyas. And they should be very careful. Oh, you're making money. Okay, here's the rules and regulations for making money. You want to protect cows? Here's the rules and regulations for protecting cows. I mean, the rules and regulations of any particular social and spiritual responsibility, they're intervened. That's why the system of the Vedas is called Varna and Ashrama, and they come together. The Varnas, they are the social responsibility, in the ashrams, they're the spiritual responsibility. So when you combine the two, Varna, Ashrama, then you can understand more or less what you are supposed to do. As a student in the school of the Guru, you don't have the same responsibilities as if you are in the middle of the world in some particular engagement. So therefore, sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know. But if you have a social position, you also have a social responsibility. And you yourself should be the expert to know what that means. If you're responsible for cleaning the water which comes from a city, my goodness, do you have a social responsibility? If you don't fulfill them, if you don't even fight with others if they don't let you fulfill it. You'll be responsible for so many people dying of typhoid and cholera when they get all the poison. Because you didn't make sure, you didn't take your service very serious. So social, spiritual responsibility of a Sudra is that he has to do his job expert. He has to be proud of his job. This is the way it's done, and I did it. And in this way, he's a very valuable member in society. Whoever does some valuable service for society is a valuable member. We are always minimizing others. Everybody in one way or another says, oh, these are just the office workers, these are just the mechanics, these are just the women, these are just the men, these are just the poor people. Everybody generalizes entire groups of people and throws them away. It's not right. Everybody's necessary. Everybody's part of this mega affair called living in this material world. And you have to do the right thing because you will be held responsible because you are part of it. If I have knowledge, it is my duty to inform you. If I am just telling you stories about some funny jokes or something which have no big meaning, then I'm violent to you because I steal your time away. And instead of making you hear something useful, I just waste your time away. This is not good. It's not appropriate. Surya Deva. Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Param Sada Pashyanti Surayor Viviva Shakshur Atatam. Om Sura Surya Surya Vangsa It's a pleasant surprise to be visited by Surya there. So Prabhupada, he taught us social spiritual responsibility. I give you one example. By spiritual responsible, you should not be too attached to the opposite sex. By social responsibility, you must first become attached to the opposite sex. Because if you're not attached to your wife, how are you going to be a good husband? You have to have some attachment to wife and children. So some people say, yeah, but when you're an older man and things are development and children are big and you want to become a renunciant at the end of life like some great souls did, then you should become detached from it. And you should not say, no, I'm loving it so much with my old wife, I will never take sannyas, so this is out of a question. Then the sages will say, don't be so attached to your wife. She cannot save you. In the moment of death, your beautiful, old, or whatever wife cannot save you. So you have to come to your senses and you have to accept that the Vedas are right. But if you're not attached to your family, when you're just having your children and all that, then it becomes a calamity. I mean, what is so difficult about being attached? In devotional service, in the temple, we are also attached to each other. And that's right, we should be attached to the other devotees, the other brothers and sisters. If we are not attached to them at all, it's a bad sign. Rajanga ajaram pasham atmano kavayo vidu saeva sadushu krito mokshadvaram apavritam. It is well known that attachment is the cause of all bondage. But it is also well known that if the appropriate attachment is there to wife family, other Vaishnavas, devotional service, that attachment opens the door to liberation. So, you have to know what kind of attachment it is. Some people say, let's give up all attachment forever. That's not really the idea. There's a lot of spiritual love and spiritual attachment. Why should you give that up? How does it make sense? I say, don't be attached to doing good things to the people. Or don't be attached to those people who are in your vicinity, like your devotional life. You can be attached to your temple president, you can be attached to some great preachers, you can be attached to some project you're doing for the Lord, and those companions you have in that project. Yes, of course you can. This is precious. So it is the quality of the attachment what it's all about. The attachment to the Lord, that is the highest attachment. And when you are attached to the Lord, you will lose all the other secondary attachments. They will not be very enticing to you anymore. That's the nature of divine attachment. It's a very silly example, I have to admit, but if you're attached to a woman, and then some or other you feel so sad if she doesn't want to be with you. But then if you become later attached to another woman, you completely forget about that. Where's that attachment gone? Where's that pain gone? That love pain? No, it's gone because you have a new attachment. So if you're attached to God and to His service, then you will not be so worried about money and job and this and that. You know something, if you don't have a job, in Krishna consciousness you all have jobs, as many jobs as you want. You can go to every single city in the world, give out things about Krishna and ask people to donate to do something good for Krishna. No problem. We are, practically speaking, I was a young man. I didn't study anymore. I was just studying on my own because I thought the big cheating society is not going to get my whole attention. So, my spiritual master said, come and help me to spread Krishna consciousness. What a surprise. What a surprise in my life. He sent me to Sweden, he sent me to all over Europe, he sent me to England, to France, he sent me to America, to North America, then to South America. And everywhere I met so many wonderful surprises and so many wonderful people. And I keep meeting them, like in this Mela. There's so many new faces here, so many beautiful people here, looking for the next installment of grace, the next installment of something important and wonderful. Because we need that. We want to have that. So, everything you do in this lifetime, if you connect it with Krishna, it will become auspicious. Some people said, why didn't you go to university? Very simple. Because I was so thankful to that teacher who kicked me out from high school when I spoke the truth and he didn't want me around. It's not the total truth, I was also the rascal, but the whole issue was that I was telling them that your system is not based on truthfulness. And I will criticize you whenever I see that you're doing something like this. You're lying to the people. So in this way, Prabhupada became my real teacher in life. He became my father and he became my teacher, because my father really didn't have much time for me. And plus, he didn't have anything to give which was really catching my attention. So when you meet a spiritual master and you really do what he says, you will meet the surprises far, far, far beyond your imagination. Far. And you learn anything which will be necessary for the real by the real university of life. Now we started our own university, the University of Ancient Wisdom. And that university, even with the short time since it was started, it was started only 8 months ago or so. We already got land donated. Very nice, spectacular land. The land was blessed by the authorities of the natives of South America. They went there, they said this is the perfect place for doing the University of Ancient Wisdom. I got many people, even high qualified graduates of the normal universities, who are voluntarily, very happily becoming teachers in one way or another on the internet or through courses they are offering for the ancient wisdom. But what is ancient wisdom? What means a university of ancient wisdom? It means a university where you learn how to love, obey the truth, find out the reason of suffering, A, B, C, D, E, find out the remedies for those sufferings, where you exist as a student forever, where the participation is not based on I get a diploma and then I can get a job and then I can exploit others, but rather the purpose of the university is of creating true servants of humanity, true valuable shamans, Brahmins, whatever you may call them, servants of the truth. That is the meaning of that effort. And any course which will be taught is ready to be scrutinized whether or not it is a tree which gives beneficial fruits for the world. Just now, in this moment, so many devotees are already preparing. And the most interesting thing is that amongst the teachers are many of the great souls who are actually leaders of the communities of America, the original communities. They have so much to say, you cannot imagine. If you use ever the word primitive for natives, then I must say that you have just been cheated by Cristobal Colon and similar people with similar mentality. It is an absolute insult to your forefathers and to all the ancient cultures if you say that these people are primitive. Just because they have no cell phone, just because they don't want to have a road made through their territory, just because they refuse your so-called knowledge to invade their wisdom. It's a very interesting thing. I must say, because I was called to the Sierra Nevada in 19th of September 2012. I was called to represent India. They wanted to know what is India doing in Colombia, for Colombia and for America. That was very nice for me because I am representing my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. Effectively, that is my job there. I have no other private business I have no private property, I have no private business, and all the things like our eco-yoga villages, they are exclusively meant for serving the local communities, for serving the wonderful people there. That is all we do and all we have to do and all we want to do. So they called me, so I was very, very happy. I was, you could say, I was proud to be called on behalf of Srila Prabhupada to associate with them. But I also have to confess to you that deep inside of myself, I was still influenced by my upbringing. And my upbringing was exclusively German knuckleheadedness. We were trained so deep down that the other people in the world who now don't belong to the European influence area are somewhat primitive. Of course, in my youth I became a communist and I understood that this was racism. I understood that this is sexism and all these kind of things. So on principle, I had already accepted long time ago that we are all equals in this planet. But deep inside of myself, I still harbored this kind of, well, what can they say, what they have to offer like that, you know. I was without wanting it. Because in my mission, I've not discriminated against any natives or anything. We have natives in our mission in different parts of America. But I hadn't met their leaders. When I got to meet their leaders, I tell you, they are so advanced in their vision, in their appreciation. Very highly advanced. In other words, these leaders, I was in the 15th of May, we had another meeting in Sierra Nevada with almost 60 representatives of 30 different tribes, if you may call them that way, ancient tribes. And for 3 days all we did was listening to classes, what everybody was saying. And I was blown away by so many of the deep wisdoms they gave. And I felt very guilty that I even had ever thought in my mind that they may be primitive. I mean, I already knew that our modern Western society is primitive and is making rules and making laws and making things very harmful to the well-being of humanity. That part I already knew. But in the front and in the comparison with these people and their concern for Mother Earth, we are not primitive. We are criminals. We are criminals from top to bottom, with some exceptions, thanks God. Like you guys. Criminals. The whole thinking of the West is criminal thinking. Criminal towards the animals, criminals towards the poor people, criminals towards the other countries who are not in the G8 position and all this stuff. And systematic criminals. What we do with our seed politics, with our, for example, our dam-making politics. You know, the wife of Mitterrand, she was a great environmentalist. She gained the name and fame of fighting for the world's water resources, and it is France who is investing in Belo Monte. It's all hoax. So much hoax is there. We are trained up by a criminal mentality against the rest of the world. This is still sustained, And I must say that many of the communist countries, they simply went into the same way of behavior. So that they were never socialist, communistic, honestly down to the ideal of it. So what is it all about? That there's no social responsibility, there's no spiritual responsibility. So when these people came and said, yes, we want to create a union in the whole planet of those who care for the planet and care for love and care for life and care for mother. Care for mother. They said, this world is like mud. Anything we do bad to this planet anywhere is just like peeing on your mother, throwing garbage on your mother, cutting chunks of the body of the mother and torturing her. This is the substance. Of course, with exception when there is a bite of of a Portuguese man of war. That's what the medusas are called also. So, otherwise, what we do with our mother, this is not acceptable. Your mother. Mother. How often I have to say it that it makes you sense. You doing violence to your mother? Will you invite me to come to your home and hit your mother and pull her hair, knock her nose and steal from her pocket? Will you allow that? Will you say, come, please come, you can do it to my mother also? Mother Earth is our mother. She is our sustaining agent. So the natives, in their wisdom, in their love, have said, let's come together, all people in the world, and create. And I just got a letter which I want to read to you. It's a bit technical, but you can understand from that what it means to be a messenger of love of Ikwa Shenduna. Because we started something.
Ikwa Shenduna, what does it mean?
We started something which is called the International Traveling of Messengers of Love, which are short. In short, they are called chaskis. That's a word in Quechua, which means those who go to different places and give messages. And of course, the messengers, the messages of Ikwa Shenduna is that we invite you to become another guardian of nature and participate in the platform Save Lives. At a meeting of Atiquigua, Hector Buitrago from Artercio Pelados, David Jaramillo of Dr. Krapula, Swami Paramadvaiti and other members of the World Conscious Pact, Ikwa Shenduna, founded the idea of Chaskis and Chaski Fest as a practical activism. At the time of the Incas, the running messengers were called Chaskis. In Ikwa Shenduna, the World Conscious Pact, the conscious artists and musicians are called Chaskis because they are messengers of love and guardians of Mother Earth. The Chaskis can organize anytime, anywhere, a Chaski Fest, where an artistic environment of awareness is created and accompanied by vegetarian food. We volunteered at that time all the yoga centers and eco-yoga farms from the Vinda mission around South America to or any part in the world to host Chaski and Chaski Fests. In this way, the Chaskis can have accommodation and board, and in accordance with the installations, we can offer a place to present themselves. This creates an incredible opportunity for chaskis to travel all South America from one city to another and present their artistic show and sell their CDs, if they have any CDs, to help their travel financing and reach many thirsty souls that want to receive the message of love. In that meeting, the project was officially started, and we decided to make a Chasky Fest website to report all the events shocking the conscience of the world. Shocking, awakening. Chaskis are invited to submit not only their music, but also talking on stage about the World Conscious Pact affairs and the need to protect our indigenous wisdom, their territories, as well as to protect the animals, the rivers, the mountains, the forests. It was also decided that it does not matter if a Chasky Fest is an event of great size, with many groups involved, medium-sized, or smaller with just 20 people sitting in a park doing music together or in the house. In other words, according to this concept, we are just celebrating a Chasky Fest here in Mallorca. In this way, any effort, any meeting, any event that promotes taking care of Mother Earth through performances can go under the name of Chasky Fest. It is our dream to have every day a little Chasky Fest somewhere. Please, do video presentations, poetry readings, or music of any style or similar artistic events. It is very important during these environmental efforts not to leave out animal rights and the rights of Mother Nature, one of Atikigwa's presentation. Our brothers, the animals, must have some active friends to speak for them. Our brothers, the animals, must have some active friends to speak for them, as their songs of as their cries of sufferings have not been heard yet. The presence of vegetarian food and printed material like from the Spoon Revolution is highly recommended. Anybody can organize such events. Each individual has to take responsibility for things in order to do it properly. The aim is to spread awareness, joy, and responsibility. Any event that you send to the page Chasky Fest, either before or after, we will try to inform as soon as possible. Please be patient with our webmasters. Don't forget that we are all volunteers. In spite of particular individual efforts, one can offer to coordinate a Chasky Fest in some area. However, the same name can be taken by other artists with different endeavors. In other words, there's no one is the owner, others cannot do. No. In the Ikwash and Duna, everybody is welcome to participate because it cannot belong to anybody. We have compiled a couple of tips into this handbook so you can become a Chasky or a Chasky Fest organizer in the best way. So if anybody of you is interested to find out about these things, we can also send you, there's now many organizational recommendations. What I wanted to say with all this, the Chasky Fest is very closely associated with the University of Ancient Wisdom, because all these things we are celebrating and sharing are really the treasures of humanity. Whatever treasure we can come up with in form of a poem, in the form of a song, in the form of a photo exhibit, in form of a documentary. All these things we really feel we should share. We were just talking today about the lack of communication and increasing the awareness of the different people in this regard. This is only because we are trying to prepare something on large scale. And reaching out to people is not easy today. Everybody is overloaded. Everybody is like the avalanche of publicity, the avalanche of movies, musics, everything is just like the people they have a difficult time to cope with so many things. But the essence is not attended well enough. So we have to do this. We have to create. Therefore, we created, for example, 1,400 posters, different message posters, which anybody can simply take, translate to his language. You are lucky; they're all most of them are in Spanish, so you have them already. So they can be reproduced and distributed and hung up left and right. This is the first time in the history that the materialistic campaigning is getting a massive response. Because who's going to finance this? Well, we all together can finance it. It's not very costly to make a few posters and hang them up every week. Because they're just based on photocopy. We are not so worried about getting fancy color pictures everywhere, because a message doesn't need the color. So basically what it comes down to is that this time the invitation is coming from the topmost thinkers of the welfare of the world, both in India as well as there. I went with the message of Ikwa Shenduna to the Kumbh Mela in India, and I presented it to all the present yogis in the Kumbh Mela, plus 40 million people who came to Kumbh Mela, plus all the people who watched us on television. And we found a very strong and positive response from India. Very strong. And I think after the latest events taking place in Kedarnath and Badrinath, I think India is going to become environmentally conscious. This already took place. By the way, Brahma, where are the papers I asked to bring from the World Conscious Pact and all that? Brahma.
You said this?
Yes, for example. Like this was from the Kumbh Mela. I will circulate this. This was also the launching of the World Citizen Passport by Vandana Shiva, a great defender of Mother Earth. So we published this World Citizen Passport, and now we are introducing it, plus many little details, which are almost too much to mention all here today. But just one of them, with that passport, you will be welcomed in all the member institutions and get a discount, like in Sattva, I imagine. That they will recognize our passport. In Göteborg and in many other places. So I will circulate this paper, starting with you. You get an idea. In Kumbh Mela, we also presented the Green Kumbh Mela project, which was accepted by practically all the present acharyas, the akaras, and it was in that sense really something many people have thought about in the past. Many people said that there is a mystical connection between the Andes Mountains and the Himalayas. And this is about to happen as the shift of consciousness manifested after the 21st of December 2012 in the solstice, as it had been prophesied by many native traditions, independently, separate from each other. So to my little humble understanding, this is starting to manifest in this area. When I was in Bulgaria, we had a meeting with members of the White Brotherhood, a mystical group which started in Bulgaria over 100 years ago, and they said yes, and it is a connection via the Srila mountains, which are mystical mountains of Bulgaria. Of course, we are very happy because for us all mountains are mystical and beautiful. And what to speak of the mountains of Mallorca, where we are announcing all this in front of this most historical scenery in this beautiful island. So, for whatever that may be right or wrong, whoever hears it, understands it, applies it, I don't know. Maybe you are becoming a very important Shaski or member of the guardians of Mother Nature. You should. That has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with anybody except with your own mother and your own social, spiritual responsibility before your mother. This is what I'm trying to work for. When I was in Kumbh Mela, for 6 weeks, we fulfilled our social, spiritual responsibility for Mother Ganga and for the international bridge making, which was celebrated on the Valentine's Day with a declaration of all the mystics of India that we should rather fall in love with Mother Nature, and that this should be the real celebration of love. And that day we had 200 gopis dancing for Mother Nature and Ganga. You can see it on the internet, it's on YouTube. You can just type in Valentine's Day Kumbh Mela and you see what happened there. Words difficult to describe. All these things because the essence of, everybody agrees that the essence of all is love. So also in our efforts to establish the Ikwa Shenduna now, our entire ambition is to create a network of open-hearted, broad-minded defenders of Mother Nature. May it be in Belo Monte for the stopping the horrible dam. May it be to kick out the mining companies from Tolima. May it be the protection of the cows and the animals, stopping all these irresponsibilities which are taking place in the world according to our means. There's one company we work very closely with. It is called Avas. If you have heard of avas.com, this is a very important organization to take up causes of people. And we are working the rights of Mother Nature through the Avas campaigning. And we have already had some tangible results, but I don't want to stand here in front of you to speak about the meager results we received, but I want to speak about the major plans we have. So, here you can have something else. This is some message from the World Conscious Pact. Each one can keep one of those as a memory of this festival. And you know, it was decided in all those meetings that this is an effort. This is an effort which is without any banner. In other words, everybody's banner will be there on this banner, but What's really on our banner is that we are working for a world which is not focusing on anybody's banner, but rather on the issue, the pressing issues. But the natural call of Ikva Shenduna is spirituality, not only a social, environmental call. No, it is a mother call, taking care of our Divine Mother as she deserves and as we may be able to do it. What does that mean? Well, I don't know. You better find out what that means for you. Because she's your mother just as much as she's mine. And I have to find out what I'm going to do for mother, and you have to figure out. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but I can give you some ingredients. You can have the golden pages, you can have the world citizenship passport, you can have the posters, you can have the music of the Chaskis. All, like many of the Chaskis have given their work as gifts to the elevation of consciousness. They're not even interested in the copyrights. They just want everybody to have it, to share it, and to participate in the shift, in the transformation of mankind from ignorant and irresponsible to loving and responsible. That's it. From ignorant and irresponsible towards loving and responsible, as much as you can. Of course you have to start yourself, following Mahatma Gandhi's call, be the change you want to see. That is clear. And don't fight with each other, and don't think, oh, my program is more important than your program, or anything silly like that. Because we are following in the history of Ramchandra. Ramchandra, he was building the bridge to save the Queen Sita, who had been kidnapped by Ravana. And Ramachandra, he asked his devotees, please help me to build the bridge. And everybody started bringing big boulders, rocks, and throwing them in the sea. Okay, let's go to Lanka. It's only 30 kilometers through the sea. Let's make this bridge. So there was a spider. Excuse me. There was a squirrel. And that squirrel with his little hands also took some few things and put it there. And then one devotee said to the squirrel, can you please get out of the way? You're just disturbing. And the squirrel became very unhappy and started crying. Oh, my service has not been appreciated. I tried to help. So Ramachandra came and he saw the squirrel crying. He asked, my dear little squirrel, why are you crying? And the squirrel said, I tried to serve your purpose, my Lord, but the others seem to think that my service has no value. Then Ramachandra took his hand and he passed it over the neck of the squirrel and left 3 lines. That's why the Indian squirrels, they have all these 3 lines on their back. They are the caressment of Ramchandra over the little squirrel. He said, you will always be known as my devotee, so you don't worry. So the squirrel was happy, and we are happy to have the squirrel reminding us of Lord Ram. So in this way, squirrel helped to save Mother Sita as well. And who's Mother Sita? Mother Sita is Mother Earth. So you see that story goes right for our Ikva Shenduna efforts. You make big, you make small, whatever comes to your mind, you'll get the blessings. Just try it. Just do it. Just be part of something so beautiful and so unique that it has come from the womb of Mother. Don't forget the people who are inviting us to participate in Ikva Shenduna. They are the same people who have been persecuted until today, killed. And they come and say, please, let's all work together this time for Mother Earth. I think this very historical and with a very forgiving attitude. A great chance for human beings to cleanse away some of the very negative past. And I think that this was also deep, heartfelt, so real, that it must have a deep, heartfelt impact as well. It will not go in vain. This is my opinion. And whatever we can do on the university level is to train up people to be guardians of Mother Nature, learning the sciences of healing, studying Oida therapy, studying the science of astrology, whatever is in ancient wisdom helpful for the advancement of humanity, that will be welcome. But nothing will be studied or paid attention to which cannot prove that it will produce very fantastic spiritual results. That is definitely part of the decisions which we took. If you want to find out more details, very soon our website, the University Foundation of Ancient Wisdom, will be up and you will be able to know more about this. Also, very proudly, we openly distance ourselves from the university concept which our modern neo-colonialistic universities have established around the world, where even the exploited countries are participating in a system where nothing goes and nothing has value in the international forums of so-called knowledge unless it is being approved, unless it is being unless it has been incorporated into the system of exploitation which is still prominent and prevalent on this planet. In other words, we are not caring to please anybody. We are caring for the truth, for the law, and for love. We are not looking for jobs, we are not looking for money, we are not looking for prestige. We are looking for truth, for the law, for the love, for the real authorities, for the real essence of life. And that is the reason why so many wonderful people like to participate. I don't know where it's going to lead us, but I must tell you, until now, it is to circulate, Prabhu, not to archive. So this is what I wanted to share with you, so that you may take advantage of it to the maximum degree of your capacity. I feel already great joy to be able to present these ideas to you, and I hope that this extraordinary place here in Mallorca will be remembered as an igniting place, a stepping stone, or whatever you may call it, for an increased compassion, gratefulness, and awareness for the benefit of others. We don't have to learn how to love ourselves. We already love ourselves quite a lot, and sometimes we do not take care of our inner personal real needs because we have a wrong idea of what self-esteem should mean. Our idea of self-esteem is we should be accepted as enjoyers. But the real self-esteem is that we want to be established as servants. And nobody will stop you from doing service. At least not in Ikva Shenduna, in the World Conscious Pact. Nobody will ever stop your service. And if somebody thinks your service is not so important, think of my little spider, squirrel, and you will immediately understand that this does not matter. Now, any questions you may have, you're most welcome. I kind of gave you an overview of what's our current state of affairs and endeavors in this regard. But on the websites you can find out much more.
May I have a question?
Yes?
This, is it correct to understand that the native people of South America now decided to have a joint action together with you?
Yes?
For Mother Earth?
Yes?
And how is the daily communication?
Not only with me, with you too.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. And how is the daily communication between these groups?
There is not much communication. Everybody has to imbibe the essence and put it into practice. If there's too much connection, this connection is absolutely vibrational. And of course, individual, there's lots of things going on. And these traveling chaskis, they are actually the networkers. They're the official networkers because they go around and take the message, and they go up in the mountains and visit the natives if they like, or they go to the cities. Also, like with Atikigwa, with the rights of Mother Nature, this is actually something which has a political impact. Already Ecuador has accepted the rights of Mother Nature, Bolivia as well, but we are arguing with them that their rights of Mother Nature are not deep enough. They have to go deeper. In Ecuador, just recently, the government made a document which says no animal can be tortured in public. This is against the Ecuadorian law. So then we went and wrote with our lawyers, we wrote a paper to the government, said, if you prohibit the torture of animals in public, why do you allow it in private? Torture is torture. You should be more consistent. So we presented this paper to the court, and the court simply answered, this is beyond our jurisdiction. So we went and presented it again. I didn't get yet a response. But the Ecuadorian government, which is quite progressive at this point, has started a new ministry, and it's called the Ministry of the Well-Being of All the Citizens. And in that there is very clear understanding of changing dietary habits and many other things. For example, just recently Ecuador was accused of breaching the liberty of the press. If you are a newspaper reader, you must have seen that. But really what they did, they prohibit violence and sex in any publication and in the television. That is the purpose why they curbed the press in this, and the press became all but they say now they want to shut up the political criticism, the opposition criticism, but that's not the purpose. There's actually and so there's many little things. Now I could tell you about Brazil and Chile and here and there. There's so many concerns. And then we are here in Europe. We may not care so much for all the South American problems. We may care for the problems which are going on right here. because everywhere there are things to be taken care of. In beautiful Hungary, my God, how wonderful a country is this. And Bulgaria, wow, incredible, beautiful. And so we have things to do everywhere. And the network will intensify by our love and friendship, heart to heart. Yes?
You mentioned something happened in Badrinath and Kedarnath. What was this?
Well, just a month ago, there was such an incredible rise of a flood which destroyed practically the entire Himalaya region. Everything is destroyed. You didn't read the press?
What?
There's approximately at least 10,000 people died. They were just swept away. In the words of Chidananda Saraswati, Lord Shiva is very angry with what they're doing to Ganga and to the situation, because in last instance it's a human-caused flood, because they cut all the trees, they cut all the natural sheltering of these region, and it was the first flood of this dimension in the history.
And the temples, Kedarnath and Badrinath?
Yes, they're very heavily damaged, and Badrinath we will not be able to visit Badrinath in many, many years. Everything was amazing, an amazing destruction. And right after the Kumbh Mela, I think Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna want to send us a big message here. Because we are not responsible. We propose, and there's a few people saying yes, 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 because like in India, legislation, they say anything, but whether it's put into practice is meaningless. Probably not so. We have to see. It'll be very interesting what comes up this Kartik. You know, we always get some news from those sides, no? You hadn't heard about that?
I did a bit, but this was that message, not at all.
It was absolutely, it was a devastation. Any other question? So first of all, I'd like to thank all of you who come here to this Mela, especially Yoga Shakti for again hosting us here and her team, Krishna Priya, Japananda, all the team, and Maharaj, Srila, who is also a great inspiration of this Mela. And also thank you to the Swedish Yatra for coming here, because I had the choice going to Sweden or going here. And I said, I come here and I bring Sweden with me. So in this way, this was the plan, and so I want to and also give an applause to all those who are doing the kitchen seva. Delicious things. So please, I think there's prasadam now again, no? Right? It's prasadam now?
Yes.
So, after prasadam we have some more artists now. I wanted to show you some movies. So that we will have the projector and the music both coming together after prasadam in the room right there. Is that true? Right?
Yes.
Okay. So you can start putting the first stuff.